Well, it's time to buckle on the life jacket and I'm on a trip around the bay. Actually, this boat was built to make a trip far, far longer than that. Earlier this year, it crossed 3,500 miles of the biggest ocean in the world, the Pacific. 5 people made the epic voyage with hardly any modern help and with just a simple sail to protect them from the storms they met on the way. The crew called their boat the Elizabeth Bligh. That name might give you a clue to their mission. They were choosing a very brave way to mark the 200th anniversary since Lieutenant William Bligh of the Royal Navy made the same epic voyage in an identical boat.
200 years ago, Bligh was the captain of the Bounty. With his crew, he'd been on a long voyage to the islands of the Pacific. Conditions on board were hard and Bligh was a tough captain. Eventually, the crew would not obey orders anymore and they mutinied. On the fateful morning of April the 28th, 1789, Bligh and 18 members of the crew who'd stayed loyal to him were cast adrift from the Bounty in the ship's launch. This boat, the Elizabeth Bligh, is near enough an exact copy of it. The men had little food or drinking water.
Bligh steered towards the nearest island, which was only 30 miles away. But when they got there, they were attacked. One of the crew was killed, and from then on they decided to avoid any more unknown islands and head for Timor, a friendly island in the Dutch East Indies. They would have to travel over 3,500 miles. It was a journey that would take them 41 days, that's nearly 6 weeks. They had no maps, and Bligh had to navigate a path through dangerous and uncharted waters with nothing more than one of these, which is called a sextant. Now, we borrowed this old one from the National Maritime Museum at Greenwich, and it was used to work out where you were at sea from where the sun is at midday. They also had a compass, like this one, and a watch. And each man received 1 ounce of hard biscuit, which it certainly is, and half a pint of water a day, and the occasional treat, which was fish or seabirds. There was always a danger of the boat sinking, and the boat must have spent most of their time bailing out, and this is sort of like a bucket.
It must have been exhausted. Well, by the 10th of June, 1789, the crew were beginning to doubt Bligh's navigations. But 4 days later, they arrived at Timor. The European settlers were amazed to see them and gave them food, rest and shelter. When Bligh returned to England, he was a hero. Getting the boat across 3,500 miles of virtually unexplored ocean still ranks as one of the most amazing achievements of seamanship of all time. The mutineers, the men who'd thrown Bligh off the Bounty, didn't do so well. Some made it to an unknown island called Pitcairn, but they struggled and died there. Others were captured by the Navy. Some were put on trial and executed for mutiny.
It's such a famous story that there have been paintings, books and films about it. People still disagree about who was more to blame for the mutiny, Bligh or his ship's mate, Fletcher Christian. However, it wasn't the mutiny, but the story of Bligh's epic voyage in the open boat that inspired Jasper Shackleton to follow Bligh's trail. Welcome, Jasper, to Blue Peter. Now, what gave you the idea to get in the boat and travel round?
Well, I visited the Pacific in '87 and went to Pitcairn, and that's where the idea came from. And quite simply, I came back, built the boat, got the crew, raised the money, and off we went.
So you built the boat yourself?
That's right, yeah.
How long did you stay in the boat?
We were about 3 months altogether. We were about 10 weeks at sea, and there's little notches there in the thwart aft showing the days at sea.
Wowee. Now, what about navigation?
We used a modern sextant, like Bligh's, but a modern one. And put the two together to compare them.
Yeah, look at that. That really is good. And what about other modern bits of apparatus like radio and stuff like that?
Well, we had a radio, but we had a great deal of trouble with it. And actually, in the end, I think we got the World Service once. But we did send some messages in bottles. In fact, we sent Blue Peter a couple, so you can get those next year, maybe.
What about food? You must have been hungry sitting here.
Food was, when the weather permitted, was easy, and we could cook. We had curry and pasta and this sort of thing. When it wasn't so good, we had dried provisions and that sort of thing. And then when it was really bad, we had this stuff, which is life raft rations.
Ooh, can I have a try?
That's glucose. This one's... I'll try a bit of that one.
Okay. I'll have a bit of glucose. And this is what this called again?
I'm not quite sure what that's called, actually, but it's a bit like shortbread.
It's like shortbread. That's very nice.
It's not too bad.
What about fish? Did you catch lots of fish then?
Yeah, we caught quite a few fish. In fact, we had one fish which we we slung over the back. We caught it just in the evening. And when we went to get our breakfast in the morning, a shark had bitten it off, and there was this much of the tail left. So,
Oh, lovely.
yeah.
Did you follow the exact course that Bligh went on?
As near as we could. Going through Vanuatu, we had to go a little bit further south, about 150 miles to clear customs. Other than that, we stuck to the same route.
Oh, no. Which was your favourite place that you went to?
God, I think probably Cape York, actually.
Really?
It was very nice sailing, day sailing, so we could sleep at night instead of going all the way through it. No, it was good.
And what about water? What did you drink?
Water, we carried some under the floor, which was chemically treated, and then we used this thing, which is it converts seawater to drinking water just by pumping it like this. So we backed up with that. It doesn't produce that much.
I think Bligh would have been very helpful if you'd got one of those.
I think you're right.
Now, what's going to happen to Elizabeth Bligh now?
Well, right now we're in the throes of setting her up for kids on the south coast in the Solent. It's going to be for sort of underprivileged children. We need to raise £200,000 for this, which we're in the process of going for.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jasper, for coming in and telling us all about your voyage, and congratulations.
It's a pleasure, thank you. That's all.